Down the bottom end of the lake, there's a bit of a breeze on the water. Good morning. Here we are, an absolute gorgeous morning at Cuttle Mill. I'm looking over the long pool at the moment, and we're going to try and catch some fish, stalking and on surface baits. Now the one thing I want to impress on you right from the start is so many anglers come straight to the water, fancy a peg, go straight to the peg and start to fishing. Now by doing that you've committed yourself straight away. If you don't find any fish in that peg, you see some fish over the other side, you're roaming around the lake, you go to that peg, then you go to another peg. It's not the way to start. Start like just where I am now, sitting away from the lake, isolate yourself from the lake and scan the water. What I'm going to do, pair of top class Polaroids, I'm going to scan over the water and also a pair of binoculars. Now, with this heat, there'll be a lot of fish already showing up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to scan the whole of the lake. I'm not going to make a decision on the swim till I think I've found some feeding fish. Down the bottom end of the lake, there's a bit of a breeze on the water. Now there'll be fish down there later on. I'm just scanning round the far side. There's an island there. I can't see any fish there at the moment, but at some time through the day you'll always find fish round an island, especially midday when the fish tend to be trying to get out of the sun, trying to get a bit of shade. You've got overhanging willows there and the fish will just lie under there nicely. Now along the far side there's a lot of trees overhanging, can't see anything. Then we've got the big island and the lily pads. There's the odd fish, I can see the odd fish just up in the water. If you've got a bit of a breeze, if you just look at the breeze, you'll see flats. Now, it should be even, the breeze, but if you get a flat, a little black spot, you can bet that's a fish. Could be £2 carp, could be a £30 carp. Just keep your eyes open all the time. This is the most important part of the day. A decision now can make the difference between a good day and an absolute waste of time. So just keep scanning it like I'm doing now. Might take 5 minutes, might take 2 hours. Find the fish first. Keep it nice and quiet. Nice and quiet. Use all the foliage. Keep nice and quiet. Okay. Put the gear down. Nice and quietly. No banging. Until we get these fish really confident feed, then they could be spooked very easily and you could ruin the whole day. So nice and quiet. Yeah, there is some fish out there. There's lots of fish in the swim. They're just all topping, so what we'll do, nice and gently, not too many at first, and obviously taking flies or something on the surface. What I've done, I've just put a few out. Let's see if they take. Oof! They're straight onto it. God, they're straight onto the bait. Now what will happen now is the fish will take very, very slowly. They'll come up, they'll sometimes knock the tail on it, and they'll take slowly. And what we'll do, we'll keep putting feed in. Floating biscuits, we'll just keep putting those out. And this is a very, very critical time, because what we don't want to do is go straight in there with a rig and catch a fish. Get the whole shoal, because there's a lot of fish, there is a shoal of fish there. Get them all confident, and what you can actually do when you've got them that confident, you can actually catch fish without spooking the rest. If you try now, then there's every chance you'll spook the shoal and we've lost them for the rest of the day. The amount of times you hear anglers say, I had a fish first take and they had nothing all day. The reason is they've caught too soon, they haven't fed right, and if you feed quarter of an hour, 10 minutes, sometimes up to an hour, till you feel that they're feeding confident. Okay, I've not got a hold all. What I've in fact has got is a sling. I've got my rods already made up. Just fits nicely over there like that. Nice and mobile, nice and light, and holds all the gear that we want. That's a special rod rest that I'll be showing again when I actually fish. It's a smashing type of rod rest. It's one that I use a lot in surface fishing. All that happens is that goes in the ground, and actually that can fit perfectly into there like so. We can hold the rod high, keep all the line off the water. Nice bit of kit. That's that. The landing net, very large landing net. I always use a large landing net. The amount of times that you'll have the mickey taken out of you for having such a large landing net. But at the end of the day, you're after a big fish, and you don't want to be struggling with a small pan net. And this should be one of the first items of tackle you buy. I'm keeping my eye out there in the swim, because those fish are still showing, but they've run out of feed yet again. I'll give them some more in a second. There's the large landing net. It's a bow net, fits into the spreader block there. Large net. Remember, when you land the fish, don't lift the fish on that or you're going to break it. Land the fish, pull the net towards you, then grab the net. The amount of times people lift and they actually snap this, or you're only on a 5/8 thread there, you could break the thread. So be careful. Let's put that in the swim ready. I'll place it down there, nice and quietly, everything nice and quietly. Rods and reels, which I'll show you the various rigs on later. We've got my bag with all my bits and pieces in. There's my unhooking mat, which I'll place over here so that when we land a fish, we'll not damage it. Not on the hard ground, we can just put the fish on there. My boxes with all my various bits and pieces in, different rigs, etc. Place them all out the way. A lot of boxes tend to be white, that type of colour. I had them behind the bushes, and then no fish can see it. So you're sound. The scales, my waist sling, I'll put those over by there again. Everything nicely in position. We're finished with this bag now. Place that well out the way. I want the swim nice and tidy so that we can start fishing. But when we do start fishing, we're not going to be treading on things, breaking things. As soon as we get a take, we're not going to trip over the landing net or the bags that I brought with me. I'm nicely set up now. What we'll do now, we'll have a look at the bait. Okay, those are some of the baits. I'll just get the rest. And we'll sit it down. Nice and easy. What I'll do, first off again, this is so important, as in any type of fishing, that feed has got to keep going in. If you stop, you could lose the fish. At all time, keep it going in. If I just carried on talking and let them go, might take me a couple of hours, if not all day, to get them back. Okay, let's talk about this bag of baits and what's in here. 3 catapults. There's nothing worse than just bringing 1 catapult. You could break it first time out and you're stuck without a catapult. You can't throw them that distance. They're very light baits. The baits that I'll be showing you are very light. So 3 catapults, that should last all day. Okay. The binoculars, which you saw earlier. Right. These are a selection of floating baits. Now, carp have been taken on floating baits for many, many years. Years ago, it was always on crust, because that was the only thing anglers knew that floated. Later on, we used things like marshmallows and then floating maggots. But now, if you go to any supermarket and buy things like a pedigree chum, floating trout pellets, anything like that, anything that floats basically, that's a cat biscuit or a dog biscuit, will catch a hell of a lot of carp. I've got a selection of them, various sizes. Some days you'll find that the large floating trout pellet will score, like that. Sometimes the very small dog and cat biscuits will score. Try the various sort. In fact, if you shoot a mixture out, sometimes you'll see that there's some baits being left. Usually the larger ones at the start. When you put the baits out, the larger ones are the one that's being left. The smaller ones are the ones that are usually taken. When they really get confident, then they'll be taking baits like this, the larger ones. Okay? What I do, sometimes giving them an added bit of an edge, I sometimes flavour them. Strawberry, banana, Scopix and Squiddy Diddy. I think those are probably my favourite 4. Most of them sweet, and that one sometimes you can get more takes on the crabby squid type flavour. Okay, you can also buy shop bought boilers. These are float. You can actually do the same with your own boilers that you make. What you do is you actually put them in a microwave for a couple of minutes. Just try it, experiment with a few, and what it'll do, it'll give a crusty effect, and you've got a crusty boiler that floats. Okay? But we won't only fish on the surface, we'll also fish on the bottom. And what I've got is some sinking trout pellets. What I'll do sometimes when I'm even floater fishing, I'll put those in first, get the carp used to bait going down, and they'll start coming up in the water, and then when you put those on the top, you've actually brought them up through these sinking trout pellets, and actually you catch them on those. They're going silly out there. I would expect to fish straight away, to be honest. Now with this rig, lay the float out behind you. Nice easy cast, no snatches. Okay, over you go. Feather the line, in you go. I've cast it to the back of the fish, and now I'm going to bring it into the fish. Nice and gentle. Don't bang it straight into the fish. Here it comes. Rod high. Okay. Rod high. Into the bait runner, so when it hooks it, it can run off. Now what you need to do is the binoculars. Look at the bait to see if that bait's just sitting on the surface. It needs to come up a bit, so reel a bit in. That brings it up off the water a bit more. It's just sitting Absolutely perfect. Little tip here is sometimes when a fish is close, just tap the line. Just tap the line and you can make it more attractive. So it's just dabbing on the surface. Lovely. Just put a few more baits around by that because the disturbance will just frisk them off a bit. Oh, look at that. Nearly a take. Just swirled. Sometimes the fish will wash it a couple of times with the tail. They'll come up. As they come up, they'll swirl, hit it with the tail. Sometimes just nudge it. But if they come back, they're not frightened. If they don't come back, then that's a bit different. Let's get the old glasses on, I can't see. That's better. Can you see the fit? Oof! Nearly hooked. Oh! See me disturbed it, look. Oh! Thought I'd got one on then. Up again, get that bait up. See the fish I disturbed? Getting a bit of bait there. Put the bait round it. Cool. Fish all round the bait. Whoa, there we go, look. Oh. Fabulous, fabulous. It's only a small fish, but that was exciting. That was great. It's a small common. That was fabulous. Told you it wouldn't take long. It's only a small fish. It doesn't have to be a big fish. I mean, the excitement of this is the take. I mean, I like to catch 20 pounders the same as any other carp angler, but the takes on this side of the sport, the stalking and the surfacing, just small common. But there's big fish out there. What's that on there? Oh, I'll take you back to the... You'll notice that the float's out the net. A lot of people think that would tangle. It's out nicely. Just in. Hey, steady now, old chap. Nicely hooked in the corner of the mouth. Just get that out nice and simply. We'll put that straight back. It's a small fish. There's no need to keep that. Gorgeous fish. See small mouth? With a bit of luck, there's some big mouths out there. Don't just throw it in from a height. Place it out nicely. Just because it's small doesn't mean to say that you need to treat it with any less respect than a 30-pound fish. It's a carp. And remember that carp is your future. Right, this rig, very, very simple rig. Very, very simple. All it is, go down to the bottom end. A 2-ounce bomb. And that is free running. And what that will actually do is whatever depth of the water, that will go down to whatever depth. That can be 10 foot, 80 foot, it doesn't really matter what will happen. That bomb will go to the bottom, this float will come to the top. The bead, that's to stop it jamming on that swivel again. And the float, slightly loaded, it'll sit upright. Then we've got a fixed pin at the end with a swivel on. And then we've got this length of line, and that's the distance between the float and the bait. Super rig for if all of a sudden you see a fish out there on its own, you don't know the depth of the water, it's irrelevant because that bomb will sink right to the bottom, that float will come to the top, and there's a bait. Grease this line, normal grease that you get in any tackle shop. Grease the line so that's floating. Bait on the hook again, make sure that the hook point is showing, and there's another super rig. Definitely some better fish over there. Definitely some better fish. There the fish just wash the bait again. You see, instead of taking it strongly, hey, there we go. Right in the lily beds. Lift it high to get it out. With a bit of luck it's going to come out. Yep, it's out. God, this is so hot. Oh, another very, very small fish, look. Very small fish. Another small common, look. Small fish. There you go. The law of averages surely says we've got to have a bit of fish soon. Oh, we've hooked that one under there. You see, they're not taking it properly. I'd actually hooked that one there. So you see the bait was there and it's rolled over it. It's given me a take and the hook's actually gone into the body instead of into the lips. Drop it back again. Pretty little thing. In you go. And away. I've lost my touch for the moment to getting the bigger fish, but still we're having takes, having sport. Over there again. Fresh baits on again. Here we go. Putting two baits on. See if we can go out again. Nice easy cast, look. Out you go. Ooh. Look at as I cast out there, I spooked a lot of fish. It just goes to show that there's a lot of fish out there, but they're not taking so well now. Tiny little bit of feed. I'm not putting masses in now. Oof. Fish wash the bait again then. Get it sitting just on the surface. Hook proud. That's a little fish, but look at it go! Oh, it's a small fish, but look at it pull the string. It's another little fish. Another pretty little fish, look. It's gone hard now, and the only things that are actually picking up the bait are these small fish. But still, it's good fun. Not every carp can be 20 pounds. There we go. Pretty little fish. There you go. We arrived. We found the swim where there was a lot of fish, and we've proved there's been a lot of fish in the swim, and there's been a lot of fish in there all day. Although they've gone a bit wary now, there's still a lot of fish in the swim. So pick the right swim. We've got to the swim. All day we've fished and we've not scared them. And that's a very important point. It's getting harder, it's getting hotter, and I think what I'm going to do after a super day, pack my gear up, perhaps have one walk round the lake, say ta-ra, a great session. See you again soon. We're in one of the most famous pegs on the whole of Cuttle Mill, and that's the pontoon peg. And the reason I picked the pontoon peg was I can command the whole of the lake. There's a lot of fish moving, a lot of fish rolling out of my swim. I've been here about 3/4 of an hour now. I haven't caught any fish yet, but there's a lot of fish rolling over the swim. I'm confident that we'll catch fish. First of all, let me explain why I've picked this swim rather than the others. The other swims today they're all excellent swims in the day, but the wind's pushing onto this, or so it was earlier on. The wind's dropped now, but there's still a slight breeze on the water, and so I would expect a lot of the fish to be over here. I've seen most of the fish when I walked onto the water. I saw most of the fish from the island to a buoy out there, so most of the fish are concentrated there. Hopefully with the bait I've put in, fish are going to get their heads down and we're going to catch fish. Right, what I'll do now is I'll show you the setup that I'm using today. 3 Bitech Vipers, and they're the same as most modern day buzzers now. What we've got is we've got a light sensor in there, the line's passing through it, and then when the line passes through it we get an indication. Now on there we can change the volume so it's faint, or we can come right up if at night and you're asleep, so we've got it much louder. We also can change the tone. Okay, that's the Viper. The design of the V there is very good, because if it's windy they don't come out there so easily. If you've got a shallow V, obviously like on a standard rod rest, then sometimes the wind can actually blow it off. So there we've got the Viper. Okay, coming down through there we've got the stand. Now the rod stand, that's been developed over the last sort of probably 3 or 4 years, and a lot of anglers use it now because, especially going on the continent, we fish a lot of rocky swims where you can't get rod rests in. So the stand is pretty easy to set up. Just put it on the rocks and you can adjust it to any level without sort of trying to bang a rod rest into the rocks. I like the stand even in England, because instead of coming onto the bank in the morning trying to knock rod rests in and frightening the fish out of distance, what I do is set up my stand up in the back of the swim and then quietly sneak in, put it on the ground, and away we go. I think the reels are worth mentioning. They're a bait runner system, and what they are, they're a standard reel, fixed spool reel, but what we've got is a bait runner system. Now what that means is when we push this in, that actually bypasses the gears and actually gives us a clutch type system. And a lot of anglers would use that, just click that over, tighten up to the lead, and when the fish takes, there you go. As soon as you reel like that, it clicks back out and goes onto the standard system. That would be just paying off on the clutch. Most carp anglers use that type of reel. Now then, what we're going to do is we're going to put this onto the bobbin. The bobbin I've made myself, and what this is, a couple of Fuji rings, a biro case with an isotope inside. An isotope is a gas-filled cylinder that can last 25 years. It shows up in the dark. The reason I've painted them red is I can see them in the day. What we'll do, take that up to there, put the line inside there, like so, put that over the top. So now that's free running on there, like so. So that will give us an indication there, that's weighted. Okay, so what we'll do now, we'll put this up here, like so, bring the bobbin up like that. And then what I do is I've got a clip, and my clip is just a map pin. The harder you press the map pin in, the harder the line is to come out, and that is actually what hooks the fish. We'll pull the line taut, like so, push it into the clip, so now it's nice and taut. Now what will happen, well, the fish will pick the bait up, he'll feel the lead, he'll run. Now as he's running, the hook will just be in his mouth. Now as soon as he hooks himself on this, he's got to pull it out of that clip, and because it's so stiff to come out, bang, he's hooked. This will drop down and start paying out as the fish starts to run away. Okay, so let's clip that in there like so. Make sure it's nice and taut in there. Take the slack line on the bait runner system. That's what's nice about the bait runner system also, it's so easy to set up. Away we go. Just put that like so. Make sure we're at the bait runner system, just like that, and we set up. Both rods are exactly the same. I've got a 3-rod setup. Some areas you can fish 3 rods. This area is 7 Trent, we can only use 2, so I'm just using the 2 rods. Okay, we've got the bait out. Let's get a few free samples and put them into the swim. Keep the bait fairly tight. Don't just, what I'm using is that marker. And again, well, we're in. Yep. Cool. The amount of times you're on the toilet, you're either baiting up, cup of tea, and that's what happens. That took straight away. We've just got to keep out the way of this line here. Always keep an eye. One of the problems fishing with 2 and 3 rods a carp angler has is I'll just put my glasses back on so I can see where the fish is. Drop the line down. Take it out the clip so that if it does hit the line, it's free running. Okay? So now we'll play it back. Kiting to the right again. Heading to that snag again. Here's a tip. I see so many anglers playing the fish on their arm and tiring the arm, when in fact if you put the fish put the rod into the groin, it's only a small fish actually, put the rod into the groin and then you can give all the pressure, even with one finger. You're not going to tie your arm. It's a small fish, but it's a carp and we're having fun. Carp don't have to be £20 to enjoy, we're having takes. This is fun. Look at this, although it's a small fish, look at it diving down there. Cuttle fish really do fight well. This is at the stage, even with small fish, that you can pull out. So not too much pressure at this stage. Let the rod do the work. Sometimes even let the rod go to the fish, just keeping a bend on the rod, see? Look. Takes the fight out of them actually. It's a mirror, I can see the scales. It's a lovely fish. There we go, look at the two boilies he made his mistake on. Nice and gently over the net. In we go. Another carp to Desi. Actually what we've done, you see what, we've actually caught the two lines on this one. It doesn't matter, we can sort that out after. It's a nice chunky fish, look how chunky that is. I thought it was a small fish at first, but that'll probably go to double figures again. Let's get it back over here. In a bit of a state with the two lines, but that's one of the problems fishing with two rods. Look at how chunky that is. Nicely hooked. There you go. There's an alder fly. It's a little fish, carrying spawn, look. Almost topped up to the vent. Vents open. Not so far away from spawning. That's a lovely little chunky fish. Look at that. Look how thick it is. Look how thick it is across its back. It's a lovely fish. Actually, that's not far away really from... You see the flanks with no scales on? Then that would be... If there was no scales at all there, that would be a leather carp. But as it's got scales, these large scales, that's a mirror carp. And if there was all large scales like this all over its body, that would make a fully scaled mirror. It's been out of the water long enough, there's no need to wait. It's really irrelevant, isn't it? We've had a smashing fight, let's put it right back. That's a lovely condition fish. Look at the orange, beautiful. Let's put him straight back. Truly gorgeous fish. Here we go. Keep him up straight. Gone. Okay, let's go through this rig. What I've got, imagine that's the reel line, going back to the rod. I've got a stop knot here. The stop knot is made of power gum. And let me just put that down for a moment, I'll explain that. The power gum, that's 22-pound power gum. It's a very, very soft material. And when we put the stop knot on, obviously being softer than the line, it doesn't do any damage. Because we don't want to be fishing with 10-pound line, damage it with a material to use as a stop knot, and we're fishing with a 5-pound breaking strain line. That's not a lot of good if we're catching big fish. Okay, let's go back to there. We've put the knot on there, we've put a bead on, and the reason I've put a bead on there is to stop that particular bead sliding over. So it is actually stopped, you see? Can't slide. Now what will happen, as the fish picks up this, it will move away, and instead of the line paying through the beads, it will actually make contact with the lead, and the lead will hook the fish. Now the lead in this particular rig is a buzz bomb. Terry Eustace designed it, and the reason it's called a buzz bomb is it looks like the old bombs in the war. It's got wings on there, and when it's cast out, lies on the bottom, But the advantage with this is that when you reel in, as you reel in, it tends to come up vertical. Now, the advantage of that is obvious. If you're fishing over a gravel bar or a snag, what will happen, instead of hitting the snag, it will actually, instead of hitting the snag there, it will raise over, come back. It's a super little bomb. The hook length that I've used to the bomb is a weaker line than actually the reel line. And the reason for that is that if that gets in a snag, it'll break. So that I'm playing the fish just on the reel line and down to the bait, which has got to be an advantage, because that's the main thing that gets snagged. And if that's the same strength as that, then all of a sudden you could lose the fish because the bomb's got tangled. Also, if in the rare occasions that you break on the reel line, if the fish is swimming round with that on, as soon as it finds a snag, that will break off. Then all he's got to get rid of is the hook, which will take minutes. So we're causing no stress to the fish. Let's move further on. We're using a Dacron. This is a particularly thick Dacron. It's about 15 pounds. But the thing is, it's not the thickness, it's the softness. You see? And when you're using this Dacron, it's so soft that the carp can't feel it. It's so supple, the carp can't feel it. And that's how you get a take on the Dacron. Coming down to the hook, I've got silicone rubber pushed down the shank. And the reason I've got that is it keeps the hair there nice and straight, keeps it nice and tidy, less tangles. You notice I've got a hair, a thin piece of line, thin piece of Dacron coming away from the shank. We thread it through the boilie. We put a stop on there that stops it coming back through the boilie, and actually the bait is isolated from the hook. So as soon as the carp comes over, the hook is free to hook. You see? In the old days when we used to use paste, we used to put the hook into the paste, and we used to think that carp wouldn't pick up a bait if they could see the hook. That's rubbish. When that's lying on the bottom like that, a carp would think that hook is a piece of stick, or it would be amongst leaves on the bottom, and there's just a bait there on his own. So when he picks it up, bang, we've hooked him. That's a very large boilie. I wouldn't use that at Cuttle Mill, but certainly other venues, especially when the 18mm size boilie has become blown, which means that they've become very cautious of it, then a large boilie like that can actually start producing fish again. Okay, so there's the rig, lying flat on the bottom. Away we go. That was oh, have I got fish moving in here or what? Oh, crikey, 2 takes at once. Oh, are they on that feed or what? That's doing very, very little. That's a nice fish. That's way out. I don't know if that was a fish that hit the line and then picked this up or what, but I certainly had a take on that rod. Let's just guide it. Ooh, that feels a heavy fish. Yeah. Actually, this is fighting like a bedded fish. If you notice, there's not much thumping. It's not doing a great deal. Just slowly kiting to the left now. Boiled on the surface. Look at that. Oof. That looked a big tail. Oh, hear that thunder. Mind you, it's a good time to fish. I say it's a good time to fish with carbon rods, but it's a good time to fish with the temperatures. Pull that fish quite a distance out, and it's just chugged slowly back. By the look of that tail, that ain't 10 pound. Here we go. Remember what I said about in close? Very careful. Just milling around, look. Ooh, just boiled there nicely. Watch the net. Starting to swim a bit now, look. Oh. Just chugging off. Right under that line, you see. One of the problems of fishing with 2 2 rods. Down we go. This could be a big fish. You see, it's not chasing around like the 10 and 12 pounders. It's just thumping around. Oh, this is good fun. I can't think of anything better than having your string pulled by a decent fish. And that actually is a decent fish. I just saw it deep in the water then. It's got my other line now. It's actually taking the other rod. Can you see that? Give it some line. And bite that line. I can get the rig back, but at least I'm going to land the fish. It's in close. Who said fishing's a relaxing sport? Oh, here we go. She just popped up like a good one. Ooh, you devil. Look at that. Look at that. She was nearly ready then. I would imagine one more pull. Watch that twig out in the water. Just pull her up in the water. Here she comes. Oh, that's a good fish, that. That is a good fish. At last! Oh, at last. Oh, no wonder it thought that is a fair fish. Cool. I know, what's the more tired? Me or the fish? Cool. That was absolutely brilliant. Oh, let's weigh her up and see why she caught. Oh, hey, that is what we call in the trade a lump. Cool. Let's put the rod down. Oh, look at this. Look at this. We've got a lovely fish here, look. I've actually caught in the gristle there. It's hooked that on the outside of the mouth, so I haven't got so much control of it as I'd have liked. But you can see that's a fair chunk of a fish. Look at the girth of that fish. Just turn it on its side, keep it on the mat. There you go. The waist sling's already wet, so there's no need to wet that up. We'll zero the scales again. Oh, I think we all might have been lucky today. I think we could have had a big fish here. Zero the scales. There we go. Oh. I never thought I'd say I was glad when that fight was over, but by God, did that go. That really went so well. Unbelievable. Look at that for a fish. Oh. I think we can safely say that's going to be 20 pounds. Teeming down the rain now. Actually, that can be good because on warm weather like this, oxygen. Yeah, it's in the green. It's 22.12. Woohoo! How about that then? Well, that's what you call a fish. Gorgeous fish. Let's just put a bit of water on there, like so. Push it off. Oh. Look at that for a fish. 22.12. Absolutely incredible. More than I could have wished for. Look at that. One of Cuttle's biggies. A 20. That's what you're all after. And that's what I hope you all get. Let's put it back. It's given us a lot of fun and a lot of pleasure. Put it back into the water. 22.12 of mirror carp. I'm going to hold this level till he's recovered because he's put up a hell of a fight. There he goes. As soon as he's wagged his tail, he's off. Yeah. See ya. Oh. This time I've got two stringers. As you can see, the standard stringer which is dropping off the hook, and the other stringer I've just come off the swivel. It's just more baits. They're eating a lot of baits, and I want a lot of free offerings around by my hook bait. They're feeding confident, and I like that particular setup. Looks like a Christmas tree, but it works. Let's get it out there. Lovely. Let it sink to the bottom. Sink the line. Don't keep reeling and fetch the lead back. If you've cast to where you want it to be, then stop there. That's another good reason to have a bait runner. You see that I've just hit the bait runner mechanism, and now I can come back on a free running into the stand. Let's knock that off first. Set up. Over we go. Like I explained, pull it nice and tight into the clip. Cool. Listen to that. That was a good fish spawning right in the trees there. We're doing well to have fish here actually, because most of the fish are all round the edge. And again, here we go. Oh, I'm catching so many fish, this is unbelievable. Oh. As I said, don't get carried away. This is enough. This is a good fish again. Oh, don't get carried away that this is standard carp fishing. This is cuttle millet. It's very best. It's very, very best. That's kiting to the right now. Oh, oh yeah, it's a fair fish. It is a fair old fish. Looks almost like a leather. Oh, look at this boil. Again, that fish hardly did anything on the way in. Boiled again, look at that. That's a good fish. It really is a good fish. It looks like a leather. Can't see many scales on it. Keeps just boiling near the surface. Oof. Boiling near the surface again. Such tremendous sport, this. Oh. When the wife ever asks why you go fishing again, and you have this, you can give her the answer, can't you? Because this is tremendous sport. Oh. All it's doing is just coming to the surface, crashing over. Really fit fish. Look at it boil. Look at it boil. It's been a long time since my arms have ached. But the fish that we've had today have fought so well. Look at this. Oh. So many fish in the swim now. Here, we're not far away, look. There we go. Just keep his head up nicely. Don't reach out for him. Slowly to the net. Slowly to the net. Yeah, look at that. There we go. Oh, crikey, that's bigger than I thought. Oh, that's bigger than I thought. Look at that for a lean fish. That's obviously spawned. Oh, oh, look at this for a fish. Oh, count ourselves very honoured to see a fish like this. Look at that. That's almost a leather. See, no scales down his flanks. Look at that for a fish. Here's a long fish. Hold it nice and firm, look. There we go, he's going nowhere. Absolutely beautiful. That has made my day. And so it should. Let's return it. Oh, look at this. A brace of 20s and doubles as well. Let's put him back. Oh, that is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Let him go. Oh, what an end to the day. I'm going to give that quits now. Absolutely teeming down a rain. I'm soaked. I'm going to call it a day. But I'm going to say one thing, that if you're in the right swim, the right time, the right bait, full of confidence, like I said, that's the sort of day that is possible. I hope you've learned something today. I hope you've enjoyed yourself today. I'll see you soon.